early on. Xaylia just knowing how to abuse that matchup.
Into picks and bans for game 2 we go. They're nice and quick for this one. Paradigm, though, will be the first pick this time round. Let's see if Myrmidons can get something going again. They got first blood last game. Can they just continue applying the pressure off the back of that?
Paradigm continuing to have no... They're not messing around with Mogao Hades.
Just no.
That's this guy's going to be perma banned from Mogao for the rest of the split.
I suspect this. And to be fair, Mogao probably suspected this because it happened to him a lot when he was playing in the Challengers Cup on the way through with Myrmidons too. People recognize his Hades is too strong, and the teams that don't recognize it, well, they learn very, very quickly.
We saw that in week 1. Ban coming through. It's going to be Ao Kwong. If you're going to ban it as first pick, you're definitely going to be banning it as second pick. That's going to be taken away. Next ban coming forward for Paradigm. Is it going to be a targeted ban, or is it going to be something in general, and it's going to be targeted against Dardes?
Shout out to Dardes.
Ares was really the only reason that Myrmidons was able to find a couple kills early on.
Way. Yeah. I mean, we were talking about Dark Dodo in that game as well. Like, he didn't really seem to get anything going, but maybe it was the connection issues causing that. They wasn't able to play to the standard that he would have liked to for that first game. Second ban, though, for the Myrmidons is on them, and it's going to be Isis. They don't want to see Xaylia doing that anymore. No, sir.
No, and that's interesting, too, because, right, Myrmidons, they have Sayo on their team, who is one of the most renowned ISIS players in the world. Fantastic on it in Season 1, and even before Season 1 at the launch
Janus,
tournament.
though, now because of this. Janus is up, Serqet's available, going to be taken. I mean, Janus and Bellona are the top two that we normally see, but Serqet was the first one locked in by Paradigm. Cuvo wants that god.
And most of the junglers in the SPL right now do want this god. If this god is up and there's no game plan that they necessarily want straight away, draft Serqet. The mobility, especially with Blink, is just too much for these teams to deal with.
On top of that, with Ares taken off the table, there's not too much that really causes our issues. A little bit for Poseidon maybe, but it does allow Sayo to get his Janus again.
Yes. Looking for the second pick coming out from Myrmidons. Is it going to be the support? Are they going to aim to look for Dardes? They typically don't, but they did last game. But that was just to get the Ares, right? Maybe they just wanted the Ares.
Maybe they just wanted the Ares for the pick. They're going to take Ymir, though, so you seem right. Dardes will probably play that one for the Myrmidons. Back over to Paradigm and where their priorities will lie. We could see Sylvanus picked up here more than likely for Trixank.
I think we're going to also see a mid. I really, typically Lobster's God is pretty high priority for them. They like to get that mid pick. Unless they have a specific matchup or a specific god they look to give Xaylia.
Nuar.
It's going to be for Lobster.
Well, we saw Lobster on Nuar last game. Nuar started to rise again. Everyone's talking about her in the scene. She provides a lot in the mid-late game as well as her early game. Is relatively safe for the most part, everyone seems to feel. And there's that pickup for Trixank on the Sylvanus. Not surprising to see that. In response, quick pickup for Dark Dodo is Thor.
This is also a pretty strong counter matchup against Sylvanus. Berserker's Barrage, you can't be knocked up while doing it. So while Sylvanus is going to hit you with the damage, you won't be CC'd, which is an important counter pick.
So surprising to see Bellona get it all the way down to the counterban phase. She will be taken off the table though now, so we won't be seeing that one. And what will we see from Paradigm? Because last time they did ban away Sun Wukong, and they're going to do it again.
So really focusing Mogao here, taking away two of his most well-known gods.
He does get an opportunity this time with the counter pick though. That's the benefit for him. Last time he went check for safety, I feel, but I guess he should have known what he was going with the Isis Nuar on the table. This time, though, definitely a full-on counter pick and be able to see what the whole composition will be. Rama locked in for Jermaine, had a good game in at that time, in my opinion, as well. Just couldn't really get much going as a team was the issue for Myrmidons that time. Paradigm, they're waiting on a Hunter, and Freya is going to be elected.
We haven't really seen Freya left open too much for Funball, but when it is, he almost always picks it, especially in conjunction with this Sylvanus. I mean, this just lane, it makes sense. Freya has a splash AoE that slows down minions, groups them up. That's going to allow Trix Tank's autos to actually hit all the minions, almost like he used to have an old knockback. And then Ullr gets picked up. Okay, so this Freya could go solo because we have seen Xaylia play it.
And we've seen...
This is completely dependent. They pick this, they're going to be like, all right, who's going solo? We'll match it.
I like that call. The Chronos pick up there as well, just for the solo lane, because it doesn't matter whether he's against Freya or...
Ullr's going solo.
I expect Ullr to go solo because of what the pick is more than anything else.
I agree. I think this was what are they going to pick? We'll switch it up depending on that. And Ullr has a much better matchup against Chronos, most notably. If you get time stopped as Freya, especially if you're not level 5 yet, you're going to take so much damage, not only from the autos, but also from the time rift.
We're wrong.
Whatever, Xaylia. Just do whatever you want.
Happy birthday again, whatever day it is. Currently, the game stands at 1-0 to Paradigm. They're currently sat in the SPL now, 5-3 2. Myrmidons started off the day at 2 and 4. They've just slipped to 2 and 5. And they're into the second game against Paradigm, where they're going to have to face off against a Freya solo and an Ullr hunter.
And the Freya solo did pick up Achilles' Spear. That's going to increase his attack speed and give him lifesteal every 30 seconds. It's an active that we've seen Paradigm as the only team to really utilize, to ever experiment with.
We'll see what we can see out of Moga on this Chronos, which we've not seen in the SPL this season. Obviously, Moga, very, very established solo laner. Not been in the SPL before, but his god pool is very varied and very deep.
Looks like we're going to have a back harpy into red start, so...
Just abusing the burst that you can get early on out of the Ullr is what they're looking to do there. Surprised we don't try and see that potentially coming out from the other side with Dardes just doing those back camps to start it off quickly. But I guess they want to get to lane just a little bit quicker. And Ullr, to be fair, Ullr and Sylvanus together should have great lane push anyway.
They're going to have a phenomenal lane push. There's not going to be any trouble for them, especially matching up against a Ymir Ram. Unless the Ymir Ram can get to lane first, and then having that early first minion wave could help them. Xaylia and Cubo Fred, they're going to be doing this blue buff and then heading to lane. This Chronos versus Freya matchup, though, this is going to be pretty interesting.
It will be, because what you'll be seeing here really is that when Freya goes to use the pulse, we should be seeing Mogo try to go aggressive and stop the damage coming out so we can get the lane pressure on. Chronos should definitely pressure this lane, I feel, a little bit earlier on than a Freya can, just because of his range being a factor in this one, and Xaylia will have to play a little bit safer just at the beginning. Ooh,
that stole one. Nice cheeky play coming out from Styo there. Able to steal away one of the mid harpies. Cubo Fred not able to hit level 3 off that. I believe he would have if he had done that. Funballer is getting frozen out and taking a lot of poke, but he's actually going to fight this.
Choosing to fight a bit risky.
Now Jermaine going to hit the cripple.
It was really big, but now the roll's on cooldown. The body blocks from Trix is done. The wall is great, and the Glacial Strike will connect the penetrate arrow. Not used then. That was just a normal in hand. And once again, the Myrmidons taking it to some of the best dual lanes in EU.
Jermaine and Dardes, I don't care
Bruise brothers,
care what dual lane you are. You cannot undervalue. You cannot just come into this lane and expect to bully them, because they are going to have none of it. I think Bruise Brothers is the best name you could give them, Hindu.
Yeah, they're in a great spot right now. I mean, every single time we've seen them in lane together, I've never really seen them overly pressured in lane, you know, early on. They seem to have a good time. The only times that has happened is when the enemy has realized that they're a big part of the Myrmidon squad and start to focus it.
Yeah, when you see the jungler walk over there like a minute and a half in because their dual lane's getting pressured by them.
Really good work, and to do it up against someone like Trixtank and Funballer as well, that's not an easy task to pressure them. Obviously though, Trixtank and Funball, very experienced players, they're not too far behind right now, have been able to heal up and sustain, and they do have a small lead now, and Dodo coming around to pressure it some more. Funballer,
he walked right over a ward though.
He did.
A very big ward coming out from Trixtank. Very aggressive ward, and that's going to be spotted out, and they're going to know Dodo's sitting there.
There was a ping in mid lane then as well by the boys of Paradigm, because they're looking for the pick onto Syo, but Syo, well aware of the pressure that Cubo and Lobster can put out. He's dealt with them before in other teams.
Cubo Fred, he's going to rotate over to this solo lane though. Xaylia been doing a great job of holding his own in this lane matchup, and Mogao doesn't seem to be too aggressive. I think Mogao seems very content with just trading farm against this Freya. Both gods are very late game powerhouse oriented.
And that's the scariest thing, right? Is because this could go all the way late and we could just have a 1v1 scenario where it's Chronos versus Freya, late game versus late game. Who will win the battle? Well, take into account we're going to see Xaylia be able to take to the sky to remove damage, but then again, rewind. That's also going to reset things as well.
And you can see Cubo Fred was inching over to that solo lane, and Mogao recognizing that Serqet wasn't on the map. He knew that Cubo Fred had backed. He didn't know where he was going to go, and you saw him very defensively stay back. He probably could have challenged Freya, but just didn't want to. I like this. I like the map awareness from Mogao right now more than anything.
Well, by this point, the last game, we did see Myrmidons pick up the first kill of the game on to Trixtank. This time around, though, not the same situation, as we're still waiting on that first blood at the moment. Both teams playing very, very safe for the time being, especially... Oh, not another poor Dodo.
He's not having the best day right now.
He's not having a good day of things.
Quick pause coming out for Myrmidons. We'll get back in the game as soon as possible. But right now, like you said, a little bit of a slow-paced game. No first blood. A lot of action in the dual lane.
With a Serqet and a Thor on either team as well, it's surprising that we've not seen any real engagement.
I think both are kind of scared of the other following up and counter-engaging.
And we saw that in the first set of the day as well, when we saw Titan up against Justice. And Justice did the perfect example of counter-engaging, which ended up winning the game, to be fair.
And there is Sayo is on this Janus, so there's a lot of wariness, right? It's the same deal. It's Thor Janus, right? It's just a great counter engage comp. If it's a great engage and counter engage, and as the weaker team, it worked out for Justice, and it looks like Myrmidons trying to do the same thing.
Well, let's see what they can do. The Harpies at the moment, very big contest on the right. The left ones, though, have just spawned. You can see Paradigm in position to bring these ones down. The duo lane extending their experience lead here in this lane, thanks to that good rotation from both of them.
More wards in the mid lane here. Always wanting to make sure where Lobster is, where Cubofred is on the map.
Yeah, Cuvo, a big-time player of Serqet. We've seen him really go off in some games on this too. And I think when the pressure really starts to come out from Cuvo, we could see big ultimates coming out across the map. I expect to see them try and pressure this Chronos soon, though.
I don't think Cubofred's backed yet. I mean, he only has Boots 1 and Bumbos. Oh, no, he backed. He was able to grab Blink early on.
He started with Blink, I believe, and then went for the Boots.
Okay.
After that, I think was the call. But he's not actually used it yet, but that Blink on Serqet is just another extra mobility skill that allows you to close the gap and then close it twice more.
Yeah, Serqet also has a fantastic matchup against Thor, which is why I think we see Dark Dodo a little bit wary on being aggressive.
So why is the matchup in favor of Serqet on that one?
You take a look at his abilities, right? First, there's Berserker's Barrage. You can either use Last Breath or Taunt to silence it out, and as well, if Thor throws out the hammer, you jump on him with Last Breath, he's caught in place. And then if he needs to ult out, he's stuck in place. You're going to be able to proc that poison with your autos, or just look to set up or finish the kill.
So a rough situation for a Thor against the Serqet, and not one that we've seen too much of or really discussed, but on paper, by the way you sounded that, it sounds exactly right as what should happen in an engagement. But then I guess Thor does have burst potential if he can get the dunk
if he can dunk him, lock him down, stun him out. Both these guys have the potential. I just think Serqet is very good at re-engaging on Thor. He wants Thor to go in first so he can follow up and lock him down in place.
Well, as we check the map now, a couple of wards placed down by either team. Ping just went down onto that sentry that Paradigm have placed on this Gold Fury area. 2 deep wards, though, from Myrmidons on their own side, defending the rotations. Trix looking for the pull. Not going to find it.
Trix showing the Bruise Brothers that he knows what they're trying to do. He knows their gimmicks. So Trix going aggressive, going to find 2 on Wrath of Terra.
Looking for Dardas, but Dardas isn't really panicking here, but he got stunned out a lot, and in the end,
he's gone.
He's going to fall down. He went for the Glacial Strike, and he fell to the wayside.
Thor
Dardas falling, but re-engage from Myrmidons.
This is a re-engage for Myrmidons, but I don't know if they want to keep up their aggression. They missed a lot. Actually, Funballer taking a huge amount of damage. Is he going to find it? Yes, Jermaine
finds it with the second one. The ultimate in response from the Fire Shards of Lobster. Not enough to kill the Myrmidons. But the first blood went to Paradigm, which is good for them. And
that burst potential on Thor Janus combos is absurd. You stun out with the Thor, you hit the double tap. Meanwhile, you hit the other double tap coming out from the unstable vortex. And we saw that. Funballer was like 100% health.
Yep.
And then he was like 10% health. And then Jermaine, much like Snoopy, is a player who, when you need him to hit the shots, he hits the shots.
Here we go, the trade between the solo lanes once more as we tune in with them. Not too much to shout home about there as the Harpies in the mid get contested, but he will go over to Lobster. Dardas though, that solo lane, he thought he could just walk away and didn't freeze. Did you feel like it was a mistake, or do you think that was just the right call from him to hold off and see if he could just walk out?
In his mentality, or based on the gods he saw, he thought he was safe. I don't think he saw Serqet at the time.
That's a good point. Cuvo didn't turn up until very late in that engagement, and then found himself being picked off for the first blood. He did go over to Funballer, so both hunters getting credit for that. Funballer will come out on top, just because first blood is worth a little bit more gold.
Yeah, 500 actually. It's a lot of bit more gold.
It's true. It will accelerate his build a little bit more. Transcendence, obviously, for all. Devour's Gauntlets online for Jermaine. But if you see in terms of the gold now, it's about 300 differential between the two as it stands.
No beats for either hunter, though, against really high burst potential and high lockdown junglers. Yeah,
well, the lockdown as well is like Serqet. There's also the knock-up as well from Wrath of Terra for Sylvanus.
There's a lot of lockdown from these lanes, but both hunters expecting not to be ganked or playing a very defensive game, just really focusing on farming.
Talk about defensive game left-hand side. There's a rotation right at the same time. There's one left, and it looks like Jermaine could be trouble. He's in the sky. Dardas is going to fall. Still Dark Dodo looking for the pick onto Zayla. They do force out his Valkyrie's discussion. A good wall, and he's going to zone him into a corner, and the damage from Chronos over the back will help. But over in the duo lane, 2 people fell for Myrmidons, and a good rotation from Paradigm makes them win this because they're going to get gold too.
Yeah, Myrmidons, they put the pressure on a solo but with the pressure in response, Ullr allows Paradigm's dual lane to pick up those 2 kills, and then Myrmidons, they're just on the wrong side of the map. There's no way they can defend that.
It was just the same timing from both teams making aggression on either side, and the one benefit of Freya, well, that Valkyrie's discretion will buy her a few extra seconds to reposition and hold out for the team to bite off more, and they do. In response, though, we can see Dark Dodo's going to drop down that red buff and rotate to mid lane now as we check in 3-2. Gold lead just a little bit in favor of Paradigm.
Mogao able to pick up 500 gold for his team by taking out that tier 1 on right. Freya was down, and Chronos does have very strong objective push. He does a lot of damage to towers, and we can see that coming through. A group up, though, in the jungle by Myrmidons.
Yeah,
not able to catch out Trix before
they know
his back
the gold's down there. We can check in with what Trix tank, but we see Serqet going back to base. She finished off Jotun's Wrath there. Trix tank a little bit further off getting that sovereignty that he's looking to work on now. Just got Steel Mail online. Meanwhile, his opposition Dardes still looking for the tier 2 of that Steel Mail to get himself going. Ymir's not really had a good couple of games just lately. We've really seen Ymir struggling all of a sudden.
Not so far. Teams really know how to lock him down. He has no mobility. While he does have a lot of control, once he gets behind, it is very easy to burst him, similar to Ares. A big group up, actually, 3-man over on those right side Harpies. We've even see Mogao rotating over. He pressured his lane, and now he can be in these fights. The tier 1 tower on right's down for him. He has nothing to push, because if he tries to push a tier 2, he's likely to find Ullr in his jungle very quickly.
Well, the Harpies did trade out there between Paradigm and Myrmidons again, as they split 1-for-1 between 3 members each of the team. Red buff going to be given over to Lobster there. Azalea, after losing that tower to Mogao, just sat there farming away, still working on the build. Hasten Fatalis online. Shoes of the Magi should be up next, and then we'll more than likely see that Demonic Grip too.
There's also the Bancrofts option, which is going to increase the damage on his ult more so.
Would you go for that over Demonic Grip?
I like the Demonic Grip Fatalis build, but we have seen a difference where players will elect to go into Bancrofts and look for a more damage-oriented build. They'll go Obsidian instead of Spear as well. They just like to get the burst. Ullr, as you can see, the cameraman pointing it out, standing right on a ward. There's actually 2 wards there, so twice in a row we saw Ullr shut down this lane, and
but
now
look at
Myrmidons
Dodo there. You see where Dodo was in position? He's around that red buff because he's keeping an eye on exactly what Cuvo is up to there. They're going to clear out the sentry ward, which gives away Dodo's position. And with that rotation, they can see that Cuvo's just going to be able to deny and steal away that purple buff.
Sayo, though, he's going to smell it out and rotate over along with Dark Dodo. But too late.
Already done. Dark Dodo not going to find the wall. Cuvo's going to walk around it, ambush away, and the aggression falls to the wayside, but it's Paradigm to get a small lead for a free buff.
Free purple. And that's pretty important for Funballer versus Jermaine right now, because Funballer, ever since he picked up those 2 kills, right, they traded out. Funballer came out ahead, though, about 200 to 300 gold. And then Jermaine got ganked by Cuvo again. Yep. Funballer finds both kills. You can already see the huge swing. 800 gold lead now for Funballer. He's got boots. He's got his Transcendence fully stacked. And he's likely, I'm pretty sure he's going to be going Soul Eater after this.
I mean, he could go for the Devour's Gauntlets as well. We've seen a double stack build be talked about, but more than likely it'll be Soul Eater. We've seen, for the most part, he's going to go do those back Harpies as well, realizing he's got an opportunity. It's a lot slower pace than last game, this one for me. It's taking its time with it. I feel this is because the solo laners as well, very late game orientated, and they're going to be big impactful for their team. I think they're both waiting for those to come online.
I think when we have big team fights in the mid lane, but speaking of that, take a look at Dark Dodo's positioning. He's actually under a tier 2 tower. He's just going to die to the tower.
I think that was DC more than anything. Respect to the boys of Paradigm for not actually taking the kill there where they could help it. They're actually trying to stay out of combat right now, as you can see on the minimap, see if they've got a pause left. Maybe they don't. We should hear soon from production if they do have any pauses remaining. Once again, Dark Dodo has DC'd, and the sad news is, boys and girls, they're out of pauses again. Myrmidons, their start of the season looks so good, but right now they're really struggling. The surrender vote has begun again. And we're going to see Myrmidons have to surrender due to technical difficulties on their end.
Frustration coming out from them. Understandable.
Understandable. It's really unfortunate because last week they didn't have a full roster. This week they didn't have a
three losses now that they didn't necessarily lose for play.
3 losses that are unfortunate. That's the big key.
I'd say so as well.
To be fair, 4 losses because they didn't have a full roster against Titan. I want to give that one too. So 4 losses they've had. They had to forfeit 1, lost 1 to Titan with a sub.
This is why you have subs.
This one's unfortunate.
This is why you have subs ready on your team. That's all there is to it.
Well, Unfortunately, that's going to be the end of it, and we're going to see Myrmidons fall to 2 and 6. Paradigm, though, move on to 6 and 2, so climbing the ladder. Next up, we're going to go over to North America today, though, so we'll be back after this short break with all the action there.